All right, guys. So, on this video, I wanted to talk about in particular the pros and cons of fuel hauling. I don't necessarily have like a certain number of things like the pros versus the cons or like a certain number of each, but just wanted to talk about it. So, some of the pros of fuel hauling would definitely be the fact that you can make really good money out here for your family, man. Like even more than just regular, I guess, truck driving. You know, most regular truck driving, like drive-in and flatbed, things like that. Most of those type of jobs only pay about the same thing, so maybe about $1,000 a week, something like that. Compared to fuel hauling, you know, you do have some of those guys who will make $1,000 a week on W-2. And that's because, you know, some of those guys may be lazy or they got something going on where they can't work as hard or whatever the case. Or maybe they're just older men or women, whoever's driving the truck. Excuse me, whoever's driving the truck. Maybe they're just older people and they just don't have the strength or the energy to, you know, get out here and grind for real. So that's understandable as well. But for those of us that are still pretty young, like around my age and you're barely 30 or late 20s or whatever the case, you have ample time, man, to get out here and actually hustle and grind. And one misconception is I hear a lot of guys talk about how they wish they have taken their hazmat endorsement during trucking school. And the way that they kind of dress it up on YouTube is that they, not YouTube themselves, but these creators on YouTube, the way they kind of dress that up is if you have to have some type of special criteria in order to get your hazmat or whatever, which isn't the case, man. I mean, either way it go, you still have to, you're still gonna have to pay for it or whatever the case, regardless if you're going to school to get your CDL or your endorsements. If you ask them about your endorsements, whatever, you're still gonna have to pay for it. You're still gonna have to study the same material. You're still gonna have to go up there and take the same test with the same questions or whatever the case. So it doesn't matter, man. You can do it in school. You can do it outside of school. But I do know now, as of 2020, I believe, beginning of 2020, is when they switched up that rule where now, in order to get your hazmat, you have to do like a course online or whatever the case. And it's a certain amount of hours. It's not a long course, but you take that course before you can even get your fingerprints and no, you can do your fingerprints, but before you can actually go up there and take the computer-based test. So for the most part, that's really all it is. Just that one extra step. You have to take that course or whatever. But yeah. So one pro that I could think of driving hazmat, like I've said before, is the pay. Another pro would be, for the most part, if you have an issue with, I guess, trying to get a job, truck driving or whatever, once you get your hazmat, you kind of like, I don't want to say necessarily protected, but you have a little bit more. I guess like a little bit more. Companies will want you a little bit more compared to like drive-in, because once you have hazmat, they look at you as like a commodity, like you're more valuable compared to drive-in and everything else like that. So that's definitely a pro. Like you're definitely more valued, and they pay you as if you're more valued. But we can go further into that too. I have nothing but time today, so as far as like being valued, you're valued more than a drive-in. But once you get into this and you see what you're making, like $1,500-$1,300 a week on W-2 or whatever, you start to, at least I started to realize that's a huge risk for that little bit amount of pay. Because however, while you are out here, you do have to realize you're driving, as people like to call it, a bomb on your back. So I do understand that, the risk of it, but for the most part, in my opinion, it's not that bad. A lot of guys are just lazy and don't want to get their hazmat, or they just don't desire getting the hazmat, one or the other. So either way it goes, man, I just didn't think it was like valued enough to the point that the pay was enough. So what I did is I chose to come on the 1099 side of it by getting my first truck. And I can even tell you guys in another video how I got my first truck and how I got my second one. But that would even be two different videos. But for the most part, yeah, that's definitely a pro. Is the value. People will value, the companies will value you more. Um, Another pro that I could possibly think of is if you're one of those guys who battle with not being able to stay out over the road. A lot of the times these fuel hauling jobs are local, so you don't really have to worry too much about being out there on the road. You know, you do your 5 days at work, get your 2 days off with good pay, and you're home every single day. That's always a pro in my book, especially if you're one of those guys who have a family or you desire to have a family or whatever the case. It's always a pro to be able to get home every day and have your 2 days off and have, money to actually do things with your family. So all the money that you're making, you can actually enjoy it while you're at home. So that's definitely a pro in my book. So let me think if I can think of another pro. Um, Depending on the company that you're with, you can definitely grow within the fuel hauling division. A lot of guys have their own truck in the fuel hauling division. That's one thing I didn't know really how to go about when I first started driving a truck, man. Like I didn't know how to really go about that. Ooh, man, these Georgia roads are raggedy as I tell you. So anyway, yeah, I didn't really know how to go about like getting my own truck, like if it was even possible. But now that I'm actually in it, one reason why a lot of guys get their own truck, one reason why a lot of guys get their own truck and then sign it on to a bigger company is because it's a lot less overhead compared to, you getting your own truck and you getting your own tanker trailer and things like that, and then you getting your own contracts with each gas station and whatever else. So one way I can think about, like, it's possible, but man, if you want, you can get the truck, you can get all your little cards and everything for the city that you desire to deliver fuel in. You can do all of that good stuff. But if you don't have the trailer or the money for the trailer, it's over with, man. That's the most expensive part of fuel hauling is the trailer, believe it or not. If you decide you want to try to get you a trailer, okay, come up with the money for a house. That that's really the expense of it. Like it's gonna be 100, 200, $300,000 for a trailer. Don't matter the year. And then that's actually a con if you think about it. The expensive side of trying to buy you a trailer or whatever, like it is very expensive. So I would count that one as a con, most definitely. Um, what else can I think of? But yeah, other than that, there's definitely a lot of growth opportunities within this, man. Getting your own truck and everything. Just think about it like this: if you had your own authority, you got to cash out for that authority, right, for the year. Cool. Then your insurance. A lot of guys are spending $2,000 in insurance every month. Also, you have a lot of guys who have truck payments as well. So if you have a expensive truck payment or whatever, that's just more overhead for you and your business, man. So you got to keep in mind all of the expenses that come with this, man. Everything. So with that being said, let's get into some of the cons, man. Some of the cons would be, I think I heard TB speak about this a few years ago, would be the yard politicking. You have a lot of guys in the yard who like to politic and basically be Karens, for lack of better words. They're Karens within the yard. So they want to run through the yard and act like they own the shit, things like that. Hey, you can't do this, you can't do that, blah blah blah. And then you got to be buddy buddy with people that don't even like you. It's a whole lot of things like that that go on with being local, especially I can't even just say especially as a local fuel hauler, but definitely as a a local guy, period. Um, what's another con I could possibly think about? Oh, also the dangers of fuel hauling, man. Like when you have to deliver to some of these gas stations, you got to deal with all the elements that come with the gas station, whether that's like crackheads. You got the YNs running all through the gas station. It's fucking 90 degrees outside. They're wearing black hoodies and Timberland boots and black Air Forces and things like that, man. You got to deal with all those elements. So, especially when you work at night, like that's when most people decide they want to hang out at the gas station for whatever reason. They want to hang out at the gas station. So, um, man, I hate Georgia. Look at this traffic, y'all. Look at this damn traffic. I'm ready to get up out of here. I'm not gonna lie to you. Move somewhere out in the country where there's barely anything that go on. Anyway, yeah, you guys don't know. Back on the con that I was speaking of, as far as the elements of the gas station, you got to deal with the darkness first of all. If you work at night or if you work super early in the morning, the darkness. You don't know what's lurking out there in the dark or who. But then it also the smell of fuel. I guess it attracts wasps and bees and things like that. So yeah, man, it got so bad to the point I have like an electric fly swatter over here, so I can shock the hell out these pests while I'm out here trying to deliver fuel. And then I have one of those. I have a few hats, but one of the hats I like to wear is the one that actually like covers up the back of my neck because I can't see behind my head while I'm trying to deliver fuel. You know what I mean? So the most I can do is just try to cover up my neck and protect it from, first of all, the sun. Because man, that sun is following you everywhere you go, especially in the south, man. That sun is hot. Then you have, like I said, you have like bugs and pests that like to fly around just because they smell the fuel. And then if you're out here sweating and stuff, you're gonna sweat because it's hot. Sweat mixed with the smell of fuel equals wasp. Things like that, man. But yeah, you guys don't know how many times, man, I've tried going into a gas station and it's just a group of guys sitting around the front door. Hey man, you got $5? Hey man, can you loan me this? Can you do that and do that? I mean, you have some guys who have some sort of awareness, I guess, where they show some respect and be like, hey, I see you at work, man. I do apologize, but I just wanted to see if you could spare me some change for this and that. Sometimes I help the guys out, like I get you something to eat, but as far as like loaning money, I don't carry money with me, bro. Like that's how I operate. So that's how you do it. And then you have guys who try to get around that little saying or whatever that I always use. And they just say things like, well, you got Cash App, you got Zelle, you got this, you got that, or you can just go in there and use the ATM. I'm like, I'm not doing all that. Then that's when I start, I guess, I don't want to say being an asshole, but I guess some people look at that as being an asshole, but I don't care at this point, man. Like, I'm out here trying to work. You don't know what us as drivers have to go through or what we're dealing with at home. So for you to be sitting outside of a gas station all day with nothing better to do, excuse me, but to ask the man who's actually working for his hard-earned pennies, it's insane. It's insane to me. So anyway, I just want y'all to like get a little bit of the scenery while we talk over this particular topic. Help me get over 10 subscribers. We'll go ahead and start that free giveaway immediately. We need about 3 more subscribers, I believe. Help this channel grow, man. Tell your friends about it if you're genuinely interested. We don't just talk about trucking, but we do need to put more trucking videos out, so that's why I'm creating videos like this one and one of these other ones I've been working on. And it's mostly just me talking. I do have to do a repair on my other truck as well, and I do plan on documenting and recording that or whatever the case to show you guys how to repair that particular part. However, I'm not a mechanic. Let's not get that confused. I just feel like if it's something easy I can work on a truck, like swapping out a turbo or um, something like that. Cool, oil change, whatever. Go ahead and document it. And for those who don't know how to do that, I can show you how to do it. I always keep my tools over here. It's a pretty decent sized bag, and it has almost all the right tools to get almost any job done. I think I'm missing a few things, but yeah, man, that's one thing you always got to keep on deck, man. Keep tools, keep oil, keep coolant, and you should be fine. I even have a thing to reinflate my tires if I need to, right inside of this little Home Depot bucket. But yeah, man. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So yeah, that's really what I wanted to talk about. What is another pro before we get out of here? Let me think. If you guys think of any pros, just go ahead and put them down in the comments, and yeah, we'll go ahead and acknowledge them in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff, and just stay tuned. And I guess just enjoy the rest of the ride, man, because I'm not about to be talking as much unless it's working on another video. So until next time, peace. You guys be safe, man. Have a good day.